Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. How will Web3 AI and other technologies work together? Jamie Burke, founder and CEO of Outlier Ventures, joins me to discuss. Jamie, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Hey, Jill. Thanks for having me.
You got it. It's all eyes on AI the last few weeks. As founder and CEO of Outlier Ventures and a mentor to many founders, how do you think AI will change the world of work for founders specifically?
Yeah, so I think, of course, at the moment, there's a lot of focus on impact to the creative industry and creatives, and you see how they're bringing to life their kind of creative output, extending and increasing their creative output through all this tooling. But actually, the same is true for founders. So if you think about the founder journey, especially the early founder journey, when you're trying to find product market fit, i.e. establish the solution to the problem, you need to do desk research, you need to create pitch decks, you need to understand and size the market, you need to create branding, you even need to create a minimally viable product. And all of these things now can be, if not entirely done and executed by leveraging generative AI tools, they can certainly help augment it. So we actually kind of call it the 100x founder. We believe that early stage founders need less resource, they need less time, they need less expertise, and therefore they need less capital and less people. And so we expect this to dramatically lower the bar to being an early stage founder.
How do you see the AI investment space developing in the coming months? Do you think AI is here to stay as it relates to that?
Yes, I think historically, if you look at investment into AI, it was seen as something that's deep tech. It was very R&D, capital intensive, multi-year, multi-decade even. What we're seeing now is the commercialization of a lot of that research and technology, and increasingly that being built into application forms across a growing number of use cases. I mentioned earlier, creative industries, but by no means limited to that. So it's a really exciting time. I think the amount of capital that's coming into the space is going to dramatically increase compared to 22 and 21. The kind of question is, where does it go? And I expect a lot of that hot money is going to go into things that perhaps aren't very defensible. You've got to remember a lot of this stuff's being built on the same technology. So will become very commoditized, if not commoditized out of the gate. And so the question is, how do you build defensible businesses here? And so that's kind of where we're focused with our accelerator.
Tell us more about Outlier Ventures and how you support projects in the AI and Web3 field.
Yeah, so we describe ourselves as a Web3 accelerator, Web3, primarily being based on things like blockchains, tokenization, and digital assets. But we've always very much seen AI part of our vision for Web3. In 2017, we wrote a paper called The Convergence Thesis, which explicitly looked at the convergence of blockchain and AI, initially really looking at its impact in the context of enabling a new data economy, looking at the commodification of data, and also businesses, small businesses, and end consumers, users having more control of their data and how it's monetized, ultimately through AI. However, back then and until recently, that was very limited because of the public by default nature of blockchains. But what we're starting to see now is lots of innovations coming through in things called zero knowledge technologies, which basically mean you can leverage blockchains, but by privacy by default. And so this means users, but especially large institutions, are going to be much more comfortable in leveraging this infrastructure in the context of their data, and then ultimately how it feeds into AI. But equally, we've made several investments going as early back as 2017 through 18 and 19 in Web3 projects that were working at this intersection of AI, from Fetch.ai, that was effectively building a decentralized form of AI protocol, Ocean Protocol, who've been building open data marketplaces, all the way through to things like Dear Data, which are data oracles, looking at the trustability of the data that you're going to feed into these AI. What I would say ultimately is, you look at already you're starting to see the limitations of LLMs, large language models like ChatGPT and others. They can deliver this fantastic experience, but actually they plateau pretty quickly. These things have been trained on the open web and open data. And so, how do they level up or keep that exponential level of output and growth? I believe personally, this isn't going to be through some kind of monolithic AI owned and controlled by one company or platform. I believe it's going to come through what are called agent-based systems. Agent-based systems don't rely on one central model to know everything, to have generalized intelligence. What it looks for is a network, maybe trillions of pretty narrowly smart forms of agents to bottom up solve problems together. And so I think directionally, that's where we're traveling. And I think the only system, the economic system and technological system that can allow that to happen at scale is one that leverages Web3.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the whole point of moving away from Web 2 so that you're not reliant on a handful of intermediaries. So then, Jamie, do you see Web3, AI, and other technologies working together? What results do you see coming from such technical collaborations?
Yeah, well, so, I mean, we're already seeing the buzzword now is agent-based systems. I expected it to actually come a lot later than it did. It's in a matter of months of us seeing large language models go mainstream. And it's because people don't want to just now have a conversation with an AI. They want to instruct it to carry out an action. The thing is, if that action can't be economic, i.e., you can say, I'm planning a travel itinerary for a trip for my family. It can tell me all the things that I should do, but it can't book them. Well, then it's only really kind of half delivering on the promise. And so actually for it to carry out transactions, potentially microtransactions with lots of other agents, it's going to rely upon Web3 infrastructure. And so we're already seeing investments that we've made historically now become very in vogue of the zeitgeist, but equally we're seeing the commercialization at the application layer of people taking these primitives, this infrastructure, and saying, okay, I'm going to apply it to travel, or I'm going to apply it to particular industry or subset use case output.
All right, Jamie, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks for having me on.